All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Diana Minotti, Fine Art, Antiques, and Collectibles of the Diana's Treasure Show. We are estate appraisers and liquidators, and I have my co host, Perry Mitrano.
Yes, I am your husband. That's true. I know you mention it once in a while. Yes. Hello, Karamia. Go ahead.
You want to talk about the gallery?
Yes, we're located at 15 Palm Harbor Village Way, right there in Palm Coast, north of Palm Coast Parkway. Just come over and visit us. We're behind the sheriff's office there, and Cantina Louie, the Barbosa Barber Shop, the Portugal Wine Bar. We're right there, stuck right in the middle. 5,000 square feet. Fine art, antiques, collectibles. Diana does a great job of hand picking items that are looked at before a lot of our estate sales, and then if they don't sell or they end up coming to the shop specifically if they're fine art, antiques, and collectibles.
And we have a very special guest today, Mr. George Hans, who
Good morning.
is a legend in Flagler County, serving over 2 decades on the county commission. So we really appreciate you coming and spending.
24 years. This man did 24 years, and a lot of people don't know a lot about you. So
Well, he's still going. I mean, we see you at
yeah,
every event. You have your camera, and
yeah,
you're always promoting
yes,
Flagler
and everybody
County.
loves George.
We appreciate that, George.
Well, I am definitely honored to be a part of Flagler County and their history. I'm especially honored to be invited today. I am somewhat of an antique myself, but
We won't put a price tag on you,
we,
though.
we, we really enjoy going to Diane and Perry's estate sales all over. And every time we see something on Facebook, we try to blast it out there. But it's so fascinating to go in and go into someone's home that meant so much to them at one time, and now it's in an estate sale. And you can get some bargains and things that you can be really proud of. And I've been collecting a number of things over the years, but we'll discuss that later if we have a chance.
Oh
But
yeah, we're going to do that in the show and tell. Which
Well,
is my
just
favorite
let him
section.
show the one item because yesterday when we were on the phone, you said, by the way, did you happen to
oh,
sell? It was a couple of weeks ago. Did you happen to sell this item? And I had
yes.
you describe it to me, and Perry and I did a video call yesterday through the gallery, and we found it.
Well, this is it here, and it is a plane, a hand drawn plane. It's an antique. It's something that is special to me because I'm proud to be a fifth generation builder in my family. And I was able to obtain tools from my grandfather who got them from his father. So these tools could very well go back, many of them, to the 1800s, so I have quite a them, and this would be a nice addition to my collection.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I haven't seen the price yet.
Put it over there.
Well, we can give you a discount. You'll get the VIP price. But the reason we have you on today is we want to celebrate Princess Place. And you were there yesterday doing a filming. Was it Channel 13?
Can I interrupt
think?
for a second? I need to interrupt because a lot of people may or may not know. First of all, they named a bridge after you at the Princess Place. That's how much they love you there. Not to mention the fact we have a reef offshore named after you. I mean, this is the legacy you do. But you need to tell us a lot that a lot of people don't know about Princess Place and what a gem it is here in Flagler County.
Well, the Princess Place very near and dear to me. I was able to be fortunate enough to be a county commissioner when it became available back in 1992, 93 era. And what it amounted to was at one point, developers had planned on uh, doing a demolition and building who knows what retail stores or possibly condominiums and things of that nature. Maybe they would have named it Princess Point Condos, like that. And at the time, we were negotiating about it, and most of the local people who were county commissioners at the time, dear friends of mine, and they said,
The George is popular.
they said, that's the princess calling. Actually, I was trying to correct something I may say, but what it amounted to was Junior Strickland was a county commissioner with me back in 1992, and he says he called me Hannibal after Hannibal from the Bible days, and he said, Hannibal, nobody is going to go out there. That old place has been out there forever, and it's actually the oldest standing residence or facility in Flagler County.
And the first in the ground
And
swimming
the
pool.
first it has first in-ground swim pool. It has a tennis court, very lavish in its time, and it had a stable. And there's a rich history there. I don't know if we have time in this segment to go through it all, but the county, I was told by Junior Strickland, if anyone goes out there, I'll buy you a Stetson. Well, I do have a Stetson, and it's the crown jewel of Flagler County. People from all over the world have called up, and they call the county office and say, we have a group of ladies from France, and they'd like to do a tour. So they call me, and they said, we have a group of ladies, approximately 40 people. Can you handle that? And I says, well, absolutely, no problem. We've had as many as 150 school children at one time.
At one time.
Before COVID, they used to bus them there for their field trips. They haven't done that as of late that I'm aware of. But anyway, we obtained a Princess Place in 1993. Since that time, we keep track of all the clubs, organizations, all the people from all over the world, Germany and Italy and did I say Ireland and Britain and just everywhere. And it's fascinating, but we've taken just under 38,000 people on tour since 1993.
That's
And,
incredible.
and it adds up fast when you're getting, for example, school children, 150 at a time. Sometimes they'd be like 3, 4 times in a week.
Well, the Oaks, I mean, there's lots of fields. I mean, the mom's group, my mom's group back in, what was it, the early 2005, 2010, we used to get together and bring the kids out there all the time. We did camping trips. I
Oh,
pitched a tent
absolutely.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep all night. There was a lot of rustling around the tent.
I'll
But now
pass.
they have those cabins, which are incredible. They're heated. They have air conditioning.
And
There's a lot. There's a lot of stuff over there.
There's a
There-
question.
I got a
the-
question. I have
Yes,
a
sir.
question. So, is it true? And maybe you dispel the rumor and quickly tell us. Is the Princess Place named after the Tsar's daughter of Russia, or where does it relate to the Russian?
Well,
folks?
in mourning after her failed marriage to John Warden, who was after John Cutting had passed away, she was in mourning in the Pyrenees Mountains between Spain and France and met a Russian prince in exile. He was 26 to the throne, and I guess she convinced him he was fleeing for his life because back then they were hunting down all the royalty and disposing of them. So she says, I have a place in Florida. They'll never find you.
That's true.
So they came here, and he brought with a bunch of his old regalia and different, things that royalty would have. And they were married, and at that point, she became the princess. So Angela Mills from St. Augustine, this is her third marriage, and she is now a princess. So they named the Princess Place at Cherokee Grove because of the Russian Tsar. And he passed away in 1949. And the princess lived years later. She sold it to Lou Wadsworth in 1954. One quick interesting story. We all remember the old-time wrestler Gorgeous George
Yeah.
from the 50s. And he married Babe Zacharias. Babe Zacharias was a famous lady golfer. And she was known throughout the golf, industry, if you will. And she was going to buy it. And at that time, there was a caretaker, John Quigley. He was notorious. He had moonshine stills in and around the area. The revenuers were after him, even into the 70s. And we have remnants of the moonshine still. If I was still a county commissioner, I could probably expedite having it put on display, but I don't have a lot of influence anymore, other than the fact that the county allows me to be their honorary tour guide for Flagler County Princess Place. But That's how it became known as the Princess.
But you also do a lot of great things. Like you've donated a lot of items there as well. And we actually we had one of our consigners donate a clock, right? A tall case clock.
In the lodge that overlooks the
Right.
water, that
Yeah.
large clock when you walk in to the left.
Absolutely.
That was from an estate sale that we did in Ormond Beach, and it did not sell, and it came to the gallery.
How old was it?
Oh, 1860s at the oldest. I mean, at the youngest, if not earlier. But when the consignment had, worn on, they decided they wanted to donate it, and they got the permission and donated that to Princess
wow.
Place. And then we also worked on the appraisal of items that were donated to Princess Place, and we were able to stage them, and it was a lot of fun. Greg and I spent a day
Oh, that's awesome.
cataloging all the items, and then packed it up and took it from. She had a place on property and was selling it, and went out to Flagler Beach. I think it was.
That's amazing that you were able to obtain some historic items from there, and now when the county obtained it in 1993, it was the first preservation grant in the state of Florida. Governor Lawton Childs was very responsible for that. We have to show how efficient Flagler County government was when I was there. I'm just kidding, but what they did was they obtained the Princess.
It did do a good job. Though. Yeah.
But the place was totally empty. There was not one thing in it, just a shell of a building. And now I'm proud to say, because of Diane and Perry and many others who have made donations over the years, every room is filled now. We actually have beds in there with pillows and bedspreads, and
But
it looks like
it is true to period. I mean,
Oh,
everything
absolutely.
there, and because when you think of if a princess, it's not like the Gilded Age, over the
Right.
top mahoganies and
Exactly.
gold leafing.
Oh no, it's
a
very
very modest.
rustic.
It's a
beautiful.
modest home. The what are the columns? The outside is all coquina shell, so it can't take a cannonball. I mean, it's built. I don't think it'll ever fall down. I mean, it's
Well,
And the
the
breezeway is
structure.
interesting. How they designed it to catch a breeze, like it's always comfortable.
It's very comfortable in there, and the construction is made up of the Adirondack type architecture from upstate New York, and what it amounts to is it's coquina crushed with a Portland cement type solution. They make forms, whether they be round or columns or flat, and that's what the veneer is of there. It's made up of coquina rock, pink coquina specifically, and it would air dry for about 3 weeks, and then they use that. But the building itself is all made from local lumber. Back then, when they built a building like that, in this case a lodge, they would build a mill right on site and harvest the lumber locally. And we could go on about the history of how Flagler County lumber ended up in London and areas around England from the 1700s during the British period.
Well, we're gonna have to save that for another show because
Yes.
we've moved into the next segment.
I
and
know,
you
but-
know, it's my
but
favorite segment.
also that sawmill produced the wood for historic St. Augustine.
Well, that's true, and it was known as Hewlett Sawmill. It was during the 1700s. Incidentally, the British also built the Old Kings Road, and there was a site of Fort Fulton, U.S. Army fort. But like I say, we're limited with time today,
Yes.
and we want to promote our
Right.
antiques.
I know. Well,
We do.
we love the Princess Place. I've taken my dad and sat on the front
Oh,
on the
yes.
porch on those
Yes.
rocking chairs. I mean, if you just want a quick getaway, it's
If someone wants to meditate, which is hard for me to do because I'm so hyper. However, that's a great place to meditate. It's so tranquil and peaceful. I can't say enough about it.
And you can request George for a former commissioner, 24-year commissioner. You can request through the county for George to give you a tour. He's happy to do it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I'm-
tours are only what, Friday, Saturday, and
No,
Sunday at
I
2?
do private tours at any time as long as we schedule it ahead of time. We had a large group yesterday. June 2nd, I have a national historical society coming with 100 people.
Oh.
And we're going to do tours. The rangers there are very, very well versed
They
on
are
the
very
history.
good. In fact, we did our Christmas party. We brought the whole
Right.
crew
Oh,
It was
yeah.
fun.
and their spouses or family,
Okay.
and we did a tour through.
I got to
there,
interrupt. We
which
got to
was
get going
fantastic.
here. Okay, George, show us the 2 items that you brought. I know that that's a group of items, but show us your first show and tell.
Well, what I'd
And
like
everybody
to...
loves show and tells. so-
Now, my family, of course, is Italian, Scottish, Dutch, and Cherokee Indian. The Stewart Farms in Oxford, Indiana, Benton County. This is
You
my
make a great sauce,
ancestors.
by the way. Just want to say that.
Yes. And this is from 1892. It's a barbed wire puller, and they would put the barbed wire in and pull it and stretch it. The Stewart Farms was a dairy farm, and of course, Stewart ancestry from Scotland. Much of my family are 6-foot redheads with green eyes. I picked up all the Italian genes, so I was lucky. But this is a barbed wire puller, and it's a family heirloom to me. I also collect arrowheads, but I have a vast collection of Native American sculptures, which are very interesting, but they're from John Cara predominantly. And John Cara is a local artist. He's unfortunately deceased now, but many of the items that he would make would be things like this. This is David from David and Goliath. And some of these sculptures, you can't appreciate it, but some of them are like 2 foot long and maybe 16, 20 inches high. So they're quite large, and I'm blessed to have quite a few of them in my collection. But it's one of them things where I also collect Jim Beam bottles. They're decanters.
decanters,
I
yep.
didn't drink all that Jim Beam.
You are a great customer of the shop. You always come in and always seem to find something. So
And you bring friends, and they buy, which is
oh
lovely.
yeah. And always the friends are
You're one-
like historical people from the county. Like we have the Wadsworths or
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's really great. Thank you for bringing all those in.
The Wadsworth family has a very rich history here. In fact, I joke when I'm doing a tour and I have someone, let's say Gail Wadsworth is there. I was fortunate in being the chairman of the Princess Place Citizen Support Group for the whole time I was in as a county commissioner. But when I retired, they disbanded that. They also disbanded my artificial reef program and things like that because they weren't having me. They were pushing it. I'm proud to say that we have 14 artificial reefs in Flagler. Flagler County. One is known as the George Hands Reef, which I'll never see. I'm not seaworthy. I need Dramamine even if I'm sitting on a waterbed. But
So let me move on to what we have. We have a lot of stuff here
Yes.
to show. We do have a contest at the end we're going to do. But anyway, this is a
Bradley, that's a Bradley and Hubbard oil lamp, and the bottom is a
See it, Mark?
cast.
Yeah. So this here at the bottom is a cherub
Blowing a
with
horn.
blowing a horn, and there's a marble. There's a marble bottom, and this goes back to pre-1900, right? Pretty much because it's
Oh,
an oil lamp.
definitely.
It has to be, right?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. This here,
And it's
and
in great
heavy as
shape.
hell.
And
All
has
right.
the, it looks like could be the original flute there. So
Okay, this here is maple sugar molds. These are,
or cookie molds,
Yeah.
butter molds.
but we're talking, look at the cut. I don't know if the camera will pick up the cut. George, you see it?
Mm-hmm.
This is saw cut. This is hand cut, hand hewn, with similar to the tool that George was showing earlier.
So I don't know if people would actually use them today as baking, but
No,
they usually
but they're
people
beautiful.
They're beautiful to hang in the kitchen.
Yeah.
We've
oh,
have
absolutely.
we've sold old rolling
Okay,
pins.
this is definitely if you want to iron your clothes today, probably not a good idea. This thing here,
It would work.
It's already bounced out onto my foot several times. This is you heat this up, you stick it in here, you close the back, and you iron your clothes. So this is and it's got a leather handle.
That's one of the better ones
It's
we've had.
probably one of the better ones. I don't know what this wire is, but this is quite a piece. I don't know if you can see it better now.
So you see the
Yeah.
E on it. It's in our eBay store. So eBay
Yes.
Joe has listed this item. It's
eBay Joe, our
photographed.
eBay manager. Yes. So this series, we slide it back in, and that's what they used to do to heat and iron clothes. I mean, they used to wear suits here in the mid 1800s. All right. This is what they used to work the field in a suit. I mean, I found that amazing.
Well, and many people will use that as a doorstop because it's so heavy.
Okay, this thing here.
Well, that came out of a sale recently.
All right.
That is probably the largest pilon I've ever seen.
Well,
that is to mash probably corn or sugar cane.
It weighs about 40 pounds. And I don't know who would work this thing to mash anything, but I'm going to
Look
tell
how much
you,
use it's got.
it will work really well. All right, it will work really well. And here, George, check out how heavy it is. And then this is a minced meat. What is this again? This is
A mincemeat bucket.
a minced meat bucket. So they would chop up the meat and store it in here.
I think you're a little too close.
I don't know. Is it too close? Is it? Okay. All right. The camera's like going freak out over here, so I'm trying to figure out
But
where I am.
when we had the
Is that better?
historical society
Can you see it
on,
at all?
and Ed, I had said to Ed in the register of people that everybody was a cobbler, and he said we made buckets and barrels for many things because that's how you transported wine, or in this area it was the turpentine from all the pine trees. What do you got back there?
This is interesting. I know George is going to like one of these. This one, George is going to like this one, but we'll wait till I get to it. Okay, Diana, what is this?
It's a silhouette.
And it's a silhouette of.
Well, you have to remember, prior to the camera, if people wanted to capture a portrait of someone or their family, they would do it, or if they couldn't afford to have an actual painting made, they would have the silhouettes. And they were usually cut paper. In this case, that looks like it's reverse painting on glass. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
definitely,
interesting
it's
way
definitely
to
on
do
glass.
a
Someone did it.
portrait.
It's quite beautiful. Okay, here you go, George. Check that out. And then this one's going to be very hard to see, Diana, because it's filthy, dirty. But
No, it's
besides
not.
Oh, it is? What is it?
Dust is free. Hold
Okay,
on.
you can
Let me
see
put
it.
let me put a camera on it.
All
Wait a
right.
minute.
With the light, you can see
Here.
it.
Look. It is a glass slide. And doesn't that look like Princess Place?
It does. It really does.
Can you see it at all, Mark? Yeah.
It's
Is it better if I
beautiful.
turn it? Maybe turn the other way? No, it was clear that way too.
Yeah,
Wow.
I love that. I think I want to buy that.
Well, buy
I
it
just
to
love
do what?
it.
Hold on, the camera's
I don't
freaking
know.
out.
I just really love that
Well,
piece.
well, where are we going to put it? I mean, okay.
We'll find a place.
Oh, it's just like the other 17 pieces. Okay, but anyway, George, here you go. See how nice that is, isn't it? When you hold it up to the light behind the door, you can see it.
Wow.
Now, this one I think is the one that George is going to go crazy over because this belongs in the. All right, let me get it over here.
So it is a glass wash scrub board.
Stay there.
Many of them were made for advertising purposes. They would have the name of the company or turn it around. It has the washboard company.
Well, it has stuff on it.
Yeah,
I'll
there
try
you
to
go.
put it there.
Oh, wow.
Can you see it? Good.
Could you imagine like being on the side of a river on a rock with your clothes, soaking them and scrubbing them
Yeah,
on a
rubbing them
board?
against the board to clean them.
That's a lot of work.
All right, got the
That
last
is a
one.
lot of
Last
work.
one of the day. Okay,
You
so
got
this
that?
is
No, you didn't. You
It-
missed
What?
that. The butter churn.
Incidentally, it's also a musical instrument.
This is true.
Yes.
Play the spoons. You play the washboard.
all right. This thing here is so
I mean,
big
you have
and
to
so heavy.
remember, you didn't have a lot of entertainment. You had to entertain yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, this is
We didn't have Netflix.
this is a butter churn. You can see the top where you put the butter.
That's a piece of
Put the butter
salt
thing in
glazed
there.
pottery. That's a beautiful
and,
piece.
And then you churn it. This is handmade.
In great
You can
condition.
tell from the side where the where they brought up the layers.
That
Okay.
was Edith. She was a dealer up in New York and brought that down.
All right,
Beautiful
the
piece.
last one, and we're going to have a contest. The only thing is, I don't think David Ayers would appreciate the contest. This is a spittoon, so we were gonna put it in the corner and see which one of the three of us can hit it. But I got warned it's not a thing that they do here at the radio
No,
station. So,
no.
so
But you
anyway.
know, we do have at the gallery a cuspidor, which is for the ladies. It's a cute little porcelain
Interesting. And
cup.
it says 5 cents for cigars here. So anyway, that is our end. We have to say thank you to George Hans for coming in. It's always good to
Thank you,
honor.
George,
to
and
know
thank you for sharing your treasures. Those are really, really interesting.
Thank you very much.
So just to wrap it up, go to dianafineart.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's an eBay button. You can see our eBay online store. Our Shopify store is on there. It's an e-commerce store. We also have a button for our Poshmark closet and a YouTube, so you can see not only this show but all of our past shows are linked there. Our estate sale, which is today is Thursday. We tape on Thursday, but this will air on Sunday. So Friday and Saturday is our neoclassical sale at 80 Putter Drive. If you love angels, if you love everything heavenly, you're going to really love this sale. Plus, her husband collected a lot about Don Quixote, and there's a really fantastic painting. There's some sculpture and some wall reliefs. I think you'd enjoy that. The week after, we're going to be at 20 Elias Lane with Cream and Serene. The gallery, we're going to be running Mother's Day sale. Lots of jewelry, vases, figurines, artwork. And just to plug our singers and songwriters, it was last week's sale, last week's podcast or broadcast. Get your tickets now. It's next week. It starts Wednesday, April 30th through Sunday, May 4th at the Daytona State College Band Shell. We also want to promote the First Coast Opera. The Romanza Festival is coming to St. Augustine, and they were our guest a couple of weeks ago. That is Friday, May 9th. So the ticket is free. It's a free concert of the Turandot. And then our next Estate Planning Council of the Fun Coast, it's a Flagler Volusia chapter. If you are a professional, you should meet us. We are at May 15th. Nina Gelato is the speaker. She's the CEO of Lotus Funeral Services, and she'll be talking about funeral planning. When is it a good time to have that conversation? So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you tuning in, and see you next week.
Wait. You're not done. You're not done.
What did I forget now?
The brooch.
Ah, you're right. A brooch a day. And I thought you'd love this. You bought me this pendant when we were in Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
Was it Charlotte or was it
Charlotte.
Savannah?
No,
it was Charlotte.
Charlotte,
It was
yeah.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like Princess Place.
Yeah, it is very nice. And, let me say one more thing about George. George, I know you since 2008. Melissa Holland, when she was a councilwoman, she was very forward thinking like you are, and she brought me down to meet with you and Doug Wright. I had a bunch of investors that wanted to build a solid waste transfer station by rail, and we went to meet with you and talk about potentially bringing this to the county. Unfortunately, I think Doug moved on, and there was a change in the commission, so kind of fell off. But that was the early time I met you, and knowing the type of person you were as a commissioner, that's why you lasted 24 years, because politics around here is pretty difficult. But anyway, thank you again.
Well, thank you for that compliment. I must say I'm honored to say while I was a commissioner, 19 people were elected, and they lost the next election, and I was still standing.
Thanks, George. All right.
All right, folks. Thank you again. See you next week.